on the market. And Matt, let me ask you about this. The Airbnb VRBO market now, big trouble. People bought homes to use them and rent them out as hotels. And now people can't afford to get on a plane. They can't afford $7 a gallon gas. These VRBOs, the Airbnb rentals, are not renting out like people thought that they would because we are in an economic crisis here. What happens to the owners and what happens to those houses?
I've heard from some friends of mine in the real estate community that the second home areas, the listings have exploded in the last 45 days. And I mean exponential, 200-300 times. So they're not going to do it. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. And you know, we just got back, well, what, we were in Vegas, what, about 2 months ago?
Yeah.
If that. Derek Stevens, owner of Circa Casino and 2 other Vegas properties, he had some staggering information talking about the impact of inflation that he's seeing. And there's an article on CNBC titled "Casino Stocks Are Taking a Hit as Consumers Struggle with Inflation and Recession Fears." But he said that he's seeing less cash being pulled out of ATMs. Sid, any comment on that?
Well, you know, with this whole rate hike thing, you know, if we continue to see rates being hiked even more, are people going to be gun shy to, you know, go and gamble, go and take these trips, you know, out of town with their families? You know, people are hurting right now. You know, you can see it on people's faces when they're, you know, out and about.
Just at the gas station.
Exactly. You see it, and people, they're not sure what the future holds with this economy we're in.
So Mr. Stevens, I mean, just saying something like that he's seeing people withdraw less money out of the ATMs. That's interesting. He said every weekend it gets worse. The crowds are getting smaller. People are gambling less. He says that they're still showing up, but the bars have suffered the worst. He said slots and table games have experienced a slowdown. There's less spending at the restaurants, less spending at the pools. People now sipping on that $20 cocktail for half the day, Matt. What do you think? I mean, when we were in Vegas, it looked like it was going off.
Yeah, it did. There's a shift happening fast in the last 60 days.
Right. But I will say one thing: we saw a lot of credit card use taking place, and we knew even back then. You just had an idea that a lot of these people were already burning through credit cards.
That's true. But if their 401k now is declining because it's invested in the stock market, if their portfolio has gone down 30-40% in the last 90 days, they're not going to be as willing to go pull that $200-$400 off the ATM card to go sit at the blackjack table.
Right.
So you know, I think that starts a cascading situation.
And I will say one thing on that. People are not feeling as house rich. When people go, oh, wow, I have $300,000 in equity in my house. I must be rich. Let's go to Vegas. Let's gamble. I feel good. You know, our $500,000 house that we bought a year and a half ago now is $800,000. What could possibly go wrong? So let's go to Vegas. Let's gamble. Let's have a great time. So yes, you're correct. The impact of the crypto market, people's retirements, stocks, and people not being as house rich as they were a few months ago is definitely changing the sentiment that we're seeing. And one last article here on Market Watch. Are credit card delinquencies high? Deutsche Bank said that credit card delinquencies could be as high as 8.4%. That is staggering. And Sid, I don't even think you own a credit card, do you?
I have one credit card. I do. And, you know, with this, going back to the rate hike thing, you know, my question is, will they continue to keep raising these rates? You know, it's insane what we're seeing across the board. If they do this rate hike in a couple of months, I think
that's going to be next month.
Well, next month, I think this is gonna be a telltale sign of where we stand across the board with everything.
So the average APR on a credit card right now, as of last month, is 16.7%, and many more are much, much higher than that. And I know, Sid, you don't use your credit card very much. I know you're a cash guy. I've never ever seen this guy use a credit card, and I'm straight cash. If I, obviously you need a credit card for, if you're going to use a hotel, vacation, travel, rental cars, things like that. But I always use cash when I can. But we are seeing a nightmare unfold now in the U.S. with credit card use. And I still cannot believe, as many of you will probably agree, that how many people are out driving right now. Here, we're paying $7 for premium out here, and it's probably going to go higher. But it boggles your mind. You really think, how in the world are people putting in $6 or $7 a gallon gas in their vehicles? And just talking to people in the repo business, the amount of cars that are being repoed. My friend Mike, his buddy, is in the repo business 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. They cannot keep up with the pace of repoing cars. So people have these cars, they can't even afford to put the gasoline in these cars, and so we're going to see a real crisis, a real collapse just in the auto market with the amount of repossessions that are coming. And with the interest rates going up, as Sid said, that's going to raise the interest rate on your credit cards. And if you're carrying a balance, that balance is going to get more costly to service that debt. Matt, any advice as we wind down?
Look, it's sad. People want to maintain the continuity. If they have the RV, they have the sand rails, they have the ATVs, they have their family. They're used to doing trips out of town with the toys. They want to maintain that. So for a while, they're probably going to keep running up debt to pay for the gas, for all this stuff. At some point, that party's going to come to an end, because they're going to, if they're not already maxed out, they're going to max out on cards.
Do you think?
And then they're going to have to put the stuff up for sale to cover the debt service, and it's a downward spiral.
Matt, do you think that people go, hey, it's going to get better in a couple months, so let's just go out and have fun? It's going to get better.
Well, yeah, it's like buy the dip, right? We're gonna buy cryptos when they're falling, buy the market when it's falling. It's gonna be fine. I think there's a segment of the population that always believes that, and they're going to probably get burned. Just like my friends that keep buying stocks over the last 3 weeks and have gotten destroyed. They're buying into a falling knife. I keep saying stop, sit on the sidelines and wait. But it's a mentality that everything's going to come back. It won't. The downturn won't last. It may last a long time. This go round, it may be for real.
Just to set the record straight, I'm not anti-stock market. I will jump into the stock market. Again, full disclosure, I do own a decent share of junior mining stocks and some other mining stocks. But there will be a time where there is going to be a dip that I will not be able to resist, that I will jump into these markets somewhat heavily. But that will be a time where I think these markets have really been beaten up and they're really on sale. These people, like Matt said, buy the dip, buy the dip. Well, how many times have we heard buy the dip? Now, all of a sudden, the dip buyers are disappearing. They've been wiped out. The Robin Hooders wiped out. Could we see rallies? Yes, of course. We're going to see rallies. But this thing is heading straight down like the Titanic, ladies and gentlemen. It can rally all it's want. One thing that we know for certain is that the economy has already collapsed. And these people out there that don't see it, that, you've been talking about this for 3 years. Well, yeah, I've been watching this economy collapse for over 3 years. Sid's been watching this economy collapse for over 3 years. We didn't just go out and start buying gold and silver because, we like to collect coins. I'm not a coin collector. I'm doing the best I can to protect my wealth, hedge my bets, and protect myself the best that I can. And I don't think these markets are going to protect you. There's no amount of paper out there that can protect you as well as gold can protect you. But again, I'm not anti-stock market. I can't wait for the day where I can jump in and buy up this stuff at pennies on the dollar. Could we see these markets go down 60, 70, 80, 90%. My opinion, no doubt about it. I don't think we can even comprehend right now how bad this can get and how bad it will get. Matt, any prediction on how far down these markets can go as we're down 20, 30% right now?
All I can say is we're in uncharted territory. I don't think we've ever had this much debt in the system. You have so much manipulation of everything, all asset classes across the board. I don't see how anybody can say this is a bottom. How can anybody say what the bottom is? So sure, I think that's, a lot of people that are calling for easily for a 70, 80% correction. I'm not a stock market analyst. I don't know that, but again, we are in uncharted waters, and I, for one, my personal opinion is I'm not convinced that the Fed has anything under control. So.
And when you have this much uncertainty, one thing I know is you don't want to be speculating, in other words, gambling. Right now, for me, it's keep the powder dry, keep acquiring some gold, and keep acquiring dollars. That's what I'm doing. As most of you know, I'm getting out of California at some point. When I begin to see the housing market really unravel, I will buy the housing dip. That is the dip I'm really looking forward to. I will buy the housing dip, and I will buy a beautiful, nice farm when the time is right, when the price is right. Sid, in closing, anything you'd like to say before we leave, what people should be doing right now, what they could be doing, what your forecast is, what you see coming for the remainder of this year or the summer?
Well, you guys pretty much hit the nail on the head. We are in uncharted territory. Just make your preparations at home. Pray for the best. Make sure you have your security, your house in order. Stack gold, stack silver. Do your best to prepare, and God bless everyone.
And I want to say one last thing. Number one, walk close to God. That's the number one ultimate asset, period. Walk close to God. But we now really, and I cannot stress this enough, the importance of surrounding yourself with good people. I try to surround myself with good people, productive people, people with a skill set, people who are awake and aware of what's going on. And, I know it's very frustrating. People write me all the time in frustration that their family members think that they're out of their minds, that their friends think that they're nuts, that they feel all alone, that they just believe that they're the only ones that see what's going on. And I'm here to reassure all of you, you are not alone. This is happening. Now those people who thought you were out of your mind, they're getting very, very scared. They're very concerned, and they have a lot to lose here. And they're so far and so deep into these markets. They're so reliant on their pensions and their 401ks. And now we're heading, as Matt said, into uncharted water. And these people watching what's happening to their retirement, they're looking at their 401ks, and they're getting very, very nervous. So you're not alone. We all see exactly what you see, what is happening. The food crisis is real. The energy crisis is real. The inflation's real. And thank God that you saw this and that you were awake to this, because you were aware, and this allowed you to prepare. And maybe you started preparing a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. The longer, the better. But even if you woke up a month ago or 3 months ago or 6 months ago, thank God, because you have already an advantage over the people who are not aware or awake of what's going on. And Matt, I just wanted to pick your brain really quick about surrounding yourself with the right people, because this thing could get really ugly. It could get really, really out of control. And you need a support group. You need people around you, because this is going to be a very, I think, very, very dark period in U.S. history. And if you think this is going to last a few months or a year and things are going to bounce back and it's going to be great, you're sadly mistaken. This depression could last for many, many years. Matt.
Yeah, my thought is tune out the noise, tune out the detractors, don't listen to them. Make your own way, walk your own path, surround yourself with people like my good friend Sid, JB here, that, surround yourself with people that, think like you, that have the same mindset, that have the same goals, priorities, and that'll serve you well, because this could just, could be, if it's not now, it's going to be eventually. We all know where this is going. It's not a good ending.
But as Matt said, surround yourself with people with the same goals that you have. Don't stay around toxic people or people that just, think that this can't happen, that think that this is impossible, people who just believe the system is going to save them. These are the people that now are being proven wrong, and they're going to be proven wrong. And these will be the first people, as I've said many times, knocking on your door so that you can give them some food, feed their kids, give them a couple dollars, protect them, shelter them. These will be the first people coming to you for help. So I'm going to leave it there today. And it's just unbelievable what we're watching just take place on a Saturday evening, what's happening in the crypto market right now. What's going to happen Tuesday morning? Matt would like to make another comment.
Well, be prepared for that too. I'm being texted lately from friends saying, well, we'll go over to Matt's place, and there's going to be a time where you may have to make very difficult decisions to tune out people that you consider friends and close to you that have not taken the time and allocated and prepared and set things aside like food and water and preparations and maybe some alternative assets. And you're going to have to make a tough decision, because that time will come where you cannot take care of everybody. You're going to have to have that mindset. So.
And also, these people can become a liability. They start eating all your food. They start using up all your energy, mentally draining. So you have to think about this. They start drinking all your water. So these are all things that we all need to start thinking about right now. Don't wait till the last minute, because you don't know how much time we have. Do we have a year? Do we have 10 years? Do we have 10 months, 10 weeks, 10 days? Nobody knows.
And I do personally, my food prep is based upon calorie per day per person.
And what are you running per calorie?
And so let's say it's a couple thousand calories a day, but you base that upon your immediate family members and people that you need to support. All of a sudden, if you have 2 or 3 friends or a family coming to your front door wanting to partake in your food supply, your water supply, that whole metric changes. And you can't do that.
They're eating your calories.
Exactly. Yeah. So now you're cut. Let's say you had calories for a year, you're immediately cut maybe in half. So those are the kind of tough decisions that are going to come, and the mindset's going to be important. And you're going to have to be prepared to tell people that you warned them, you told them to prepare, they didn't heed your advice, and the tough part's going to be they're on their own.
And, Sid and I have gone out many times, and we've spoken to a lot of homeless people. And let me be very clear, not every homeless person is a drug addict. Many of those homeless people had homes, they had businesses, they ran into financial trouble, went through a divorce, had massive medical bills, a business went under, real estate went under, and these people landed up with some bad luck on the streets and never rebounded. And, what are we going to see this time around? But Sid, just maybe touch on that for a minute. We haven't been out feeding the homeless in a while. We need to get back out there, but it's pretty tragic. But how easy is it for people just to lose a job and have nothing to fall back on? Could be homeless.
Oh, it's definitely an issue. I think another issue is mental illness. Mental illness is on the rise, like we've never seen before. Post pandemic, you see a lot of people have lost it. You see a crime wave like you've never seen before. You see it all over the news. It's never ending. Just prepare yourselves for the worst.
So Sid, we're going to know people that could be out there.
Oh, most definitely. It can be family, friends, relatives, associates. You'd never know. With this world we're in now, it's a whole new world.
There are going to be a lot of victims out there. And I know, like both of you here in the desert, Matt, like we're driving down I-10, it's like, hey, there's another RV out in the middle of the desert with people sleeping in it. There's 3 RVs within a mile of my house. 3 RVs just in the middle of the desert, just living there. And Sid, you and I've passed numerous areas of the desert where people are just living in trees near the railroad tracks, in boxes. And now I'm seeing more RVs just parked off of I-10 in the middle of nowhere. So, I mean, this is becoming so obvious what is happening. It's like we're just watching this country turn more and more in the direction of a third world country. And so as I close, I don't want you out there to be victims of this. I don't want you to lose. And this is why we make these videos. And I thank Matt and I thank Sid for being here and sharing their thoughts on this. Just do what you can. It might be a little, but a little might save you. It might save your family if you have a little bit of gold or a little bit of silver, a little bit of cash put away, and get the debts paid off. Debt is a killer, ladies and gentlemen, and you do not want to be heading into a recession, nor do you want to be heading into a depression with debt. Instead, you want to be capitalizing. If you have good credit, if you have some assets, cash, you're going to take advantage of things on sale and better your life and better your standard of living, while the majority of this country is going to see their standard of living collapse. They're not going to believe, people are not going to believe what is about to happen to them. How many people believe we'd be paying $7 for a gallon of gas? How many people believe we'd shut the U.S. economy down for a year, global economy down for over a year, food shortages, baby formula shortages, 10,000 cattle dead in Kansas? Who would have ever thought, if we were talking about this 10 years ago, 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, what we'd be seeing right now? People would have thought you were absolutely nuts. But here we are in the twilight zone now. So as I leave you this evening, remember this: anything is possible. Be prepared. God bless.